I invested 10% of my net worth last year in Meta. There was all these negative press releases coming out that, Meta had fumbled their metaverse and they had fumbled their ability to be a social media platform and got tanked. And part of me was like, why is there no positive press going out simultaneously to fight this? Once again, there's people writing the news with intentions. Anybody that's a CEO in the stock market realizes that one of your jobs is to move the chart. And it goes from 70% drawdown to all-time highs. All engineered with positive press and all engineered to the downside with negative press. So when we see Bitcoin narrative, fuck Bitcoin is a scam, Bitcoin's going to zero. Well, who's writing it? Who's behind it? And what's their intention? Money needed to be authorized and validated in order for people to consider it valuable. The dollar is backed by what? Why do people have strength and why do people believe in the dollar? Well, because it's backed by the United States government. Yeah. It's backed by the military. So who's going to fuck with that? Very few people. So once again, that's what you're gambling, you're betting on. But they can turn on the printers at any moment. With Bitcoin, I see the network state growing. Can anybody make more Bitcoins? No. Okay, do more people want Bitcoins? Yes. Is the network state growing of people that fucking hate the government? Yes. Okay, well, what's the natural solution? How many billionaires own Bitcoin? Well, a lot of them. Okay, well, maybe they're all into something together. Maybe the conversation that they're having at Silicon Valley regarding the future of AI, regarding the future of censorship, regarding biometric scanning of your face in order to access the internet, in order to fucking send a payment on WeChat, WePay. What happens if you become a political dissident? What happens if the government doesn't fuck with you anymore? How do you buy things? How do you sell things? You need something that's outside of them. And that's what Bitcoin is. It goes back to the bartering system where I own my assets and I can transact and do with them as I please. That's the natural evolution of money, brother.
This year, I think, has been the biggest shift in crypto. I did a video on this on my channel, which this podcast probably on, about how this year's been like the biggest paradigm shift I've seen in my 6 years in crypto. And it goes on to what you were saying of like the owners of these banks, they haven't historically been proponents of Bitcoin or crypto, but we've seen the narrative shift. We've seen Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Fidelity, all these funds like really start to shift their opinion. So I think now we're at like a massive inflection point for the market. Like the ETF's really just the beginning. Like the shift is here. Like it's really happening. It happened, yeah.
It's obvious. It's so obvious. Bro, they're printing money out of thin air. These motherfucking banks, these hedge funds, when they're getting money for free, 0% APR, they're trying to figure out, where the fuck do I put this money? Where do I put it? They're gambling, they're speculating. We've fallen into the illusion that some white-collared, blue-tie motherfucker that has a Harvard degree knows more about finances than we do. No. We'll create our own financial ecosystem. We'll create our own industries. So they're realizing, oh shit, these kids are actually out here creating their own industries. They're smarter than us. They're building DEXs, DeFi. They're cutting us completely out. We got to get in the game. Yeah. And then they're like, okay, well, we make money off of fees. BlackRock, Vanguard. We make money off of fees. Well, let's start bringing in some ETFs. Let's start bundling some assets. Well, if BlackRock's like, okay, well, if I own 1% of Bitcoin supply and I charge 0.5% fee on that, who gives a fuck what Bitcoin's worth? I just make free money.
Yeah.
They're in the business of making money. So they're finding trends, narratives, and teams. Same shit. Trends, narratives, and teams to invest in.
The risk a few years ago was that Bitcoin was going to be basically like outlawed, or there was all that thing about China banning Bitcoin, US. But like what's happened this year is it's been legitimized. And once you can't really put, the genie back in.
It was inevitable. All we saw on the news was the same dudes that run press articles to pump their stock so that they can dump on people. It's the same people run. You don't think, when Mark Zuckerberg, I invested 10% of my net worth last year in Meta. There was all these negative press releases coming out that, Meta had fumbled their metaverse and they had fumbled their ability to be a social media platform and got tanked. And part of me was like, why is there no positive press going out simultaneously to fight this? Right? Like if I'm a business owner and somebody says some whack stuff about my business, I'll come back and like smash it directly. But it was ghost from Zuck. It was ghost from Meta. Like, this is weird. The stock is tanking. And then, I forget what was the announcement. I think it was right before Q4 of last year. They announced some really good profits that were coming into Q4. And I said, you know what? I think right now is going to be the narrative of positive news that's going to be coming for Meta, because once again, there's people writing the news with intentions. So anybody that's a CEO in the stock market realizes that one of your jobs is to move the chart. Your job is to control the chart. Your job is to be involved with how the chart moves, because you have investors that you are responsible for. You have a board that you're accountable to. You're a publicly listed company. In comes Meta talking about fucking AI, talking about these multi-billion-dollar deals with NVIDIA. And it goes from 70% drawdown to all-time highs. All engineered with positive press, and all engineered to the downside with negative press. I made a tweet and I said, all the negative press that you see around Meta is institutions trying to buy up your bags. And now that things are high, they'll start rolling out positive press once they want to get out to create liquidity.
It's all narrative.
It's all narrative. So when we see Bitcoin narrative, fuck Bitcoin, Bitcoin is a scam, Bitcoin's going to zero. Well, who's writing it? Who's behind it? And what's their intention? What's the intention of this article? What are they trying to accomplish? Probably taking my bags. So I don't read any of that shit.
Yeah.
I'm fully aware, fully convicted of what I own. I don't have to listen to some bumbo on New York Times.
So aside from Bitcoin, I'm interested, because I want to wrap this up by talking about, some actionable stuff in the market.
Let's do it.
So Bitcoin, clearly, by now, if you've been watching the whole podcast, it's evident, like, we're obviously both very bullish on Bitcoin and have conviction. How do you view the altcoin market in relation to Bitcoin? Because historically, they have been linked. So
it's still linked.
So do you view, let's say Bitcoin hits $1 million, you think like altcoins, rising tide lifts all ships kind of effect?
Not all ships, the best ships.
The best ships.
There's ships with too many holes in them.
Yeah. Yeah. And those holes are like,
Everything.
VCs
liquidity, token, like pre-sales, product market fit, your ability to list your reputation, the amount of customers that you have. It's a lot of shit. The issue with a lot of crypto projects is, imagine Facebook 2006 when it just starts. They launched their stock that next year. Is Mark Zuckerberg ready with such an infant company to be managing a stock, to be managing investors as well as a company and profits? Very difficult for a CEO to do all of that. Today, in crypto, that's what's happening. You have people managing a chart, managing investors, and simultaneously trying to build a market fit product that onboards customers and that is profitable. Look at what's taking place with fucking Polkadot.
Yeah.
They're going crazy because they're like, oh, we thought that this was going to be the future, but nobody's using it. Going to zero.
A lot of projects, 99% of projects
going to zero. So does it lift all boats? Maybe during a bull run speculation.
Yeah.
Long term, not at all. But there's a couple monolithic ecosystems that I think are going to outweigh everything. Ton ecosystem, Bitcoin ecosystem, Ethereum ecosystem, Solana. Right now, these are the 4 heavy duty players. You have Base wanting to get involved. You have Linea wanting to get involved. You have AVAX wanting to get involved. These are all competitors. They all have a chance. But once again, it's the path of least resistance. Do they have Phantom, right, readily available in Jupiter that you can hop on and swap? No. Okay, well, what is the path of least resistance to acquire a user? The mobile. So then I look at Ton. Okay, well, it's very simple. So when I look at these chains, when I look at these products, I look at demand. I look at how aged they are, because age is important, because it tells you if something has the ability to stand the test of time. And do they have traction? Traction is it a path of least resistance for users to come on board? And is the usability of the product something that's enjoyable?